Hello guys, welcome to question answer session. So here we will be looking at a question and then we will try to answer that particular question. So here is a question that is related to environmental sociology. So I hope you can see this. What is environmental sociology? How can it answer questions of sustainable development? So a simple question, which is of 10 marker. So let's see how you will be, answering this question. Take a moment and think about it, and then we can discuss it. So, guys, you need to talk about what is environmental sociology, right? So, it's a study of the interaction between society and environment and examining how social structures, the cultural practices, and human behaviors influence the ecological system. So, here you need to define, right? That's a beginning that you need to give because it's a 10 marker, you can directly get into it. So, guys, I'll just look into the question and answer. So it will be like 8 to 10 minute session. The detailed discussion we have already done in the course. So this is only for revision purpose, and I won't be able to discuss the complete content. For that, you need to look for the course, or you can get the PDF which is given in the details description. So that is for free of cost. You can get that description details, and everything in that PDF is there. All the details are there. So if you see, unlike environmental science, which is mostly focusing on the natural processes or the environmental studies, which again draw from multiple disciplines, environmental sociology is firmly rooted in the social science. And it is basically aimed to address the pressing environmental issues through sociological lens, focusing on inequality, public awareness, policy reforms, and the social movements. So if you see, again, in the present day context, the environmental crisis is escalating, like the climate change, deforestation, resource depletion. Environmental sociology in this context is becoming very important because you will be analyzing how human societies, contribute to, and how can you resolve these problems and everything. So this is what you can write in introduction, not completely this much. Whatever I have discussed, I just want to give some more points. So that's the reason why from this 30-40 words is what you need to take. Now, so how can you again add more to it? So what all things it will cover when it comes to environmental sociology? It's about public understanding of environmental issues. It's about environmental inequality. And you can talk about social movements and change, like the Chipko movement, right? And then you can talk about migration related issues and environment, and then policy analysis. So, in fact, environmental sociology investigate how societies perceive and respond to climate change, pollution, and resource depletion. It also highlights the disproportionate burden of environmental degradation on marginalized groups. So that's what I'm talking about, environmental inequality. And then it studies movements like, Fridays for Future and, Chipko movement to understand collective actions for environmental justice. And it also explored how environmental factors drive migration and displacement. And then it also evaluate the effectiveness of environmental laws and the reforms. So basically, it's a multidisciplinary approach that bridges social and ecological concerns and providing insights into how society can contribute to the sustainability aspect. Now, what are the key thinkers and contribution you can mention here? You can talk about Cutler, the modern studies. You can talk about Marx and Engels also. So Marx viewed the environment as intertwined with modes of production. And he criticized the how capitalism alienates people not just from their labor, but also from their nature. We discussed this in the chapter on the theory of alienation. And during the Industrial Revolution, land was, repurposed for industries, and that is at the expense of agriculture, and that's forcing the rural workers into polluted urban areas. And Marx attributed this ecological disruption to capitalism, its exploitative nature also. Again, research by Cutler. This is modern studies, 2015-16, and others actually highlight how exposure to extreme climate events influence beliefs, moderated by political affiliations, gender, and occupation. And these studies actually emphasize the sociological factors that's shaping the public attitudes towards climate change and sustainability. Now, aims of environmental sociology. What are the aims? Basically, to mitigate environmental problems, support the vulnerable communities, drive policy reforms. So that's what environmental sociology seek to, that you can mention in your answer. So it addresses issues like deforestation, right? And again, pollution, climate change, etc. So mitigating environmental problems. Then it highlight and resolve the disproportionate impact of environmental degradation on marginalized groups. And then it advocate for laws and practices that balance ecological conservation with social justice. So drive for social or policy reforms. For instance, the global efforts to combat the climate change, such as the Paris Agreement, that align with the goals of environmental sociology by integrating scientific, social, and political perspectives. Now, we can also talk about sociology and sustainable development. See, when we talk about sustainable development, it's a societal goal that's aiming to balance resource consumption with conservation for future generation. So it's a societal goal. And sociology plays a pivotal role in achieving this by analyzing the intersection of environmental, social, and economic system. So what is this sustainability as a societal goal? What do you mean by this? It's defined by United Nations, right? 17 Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Sustainability encompasses poverty eradication, gender equality, climate action, responsible consumptions, etc. Again, environmental sociology emphasizes how social practices like diet, consumption, and transportation that contribute to or hinder these goals. Right. So again, when it comes to balancing resources, sustainability again advocate for equilibrium between consumption and conservation to avoid resource overexploitation. Sociologists like Binswanger in 2009 and Latoch 2009, these actually criticized the economic models that dependent on perpetual growth, emphasizing their understandable this situation or the unsustainable nature of the use of it, the economic model that we are following now, and how it is dependent on this perpetual growth and their unsustainability over a period of time. Coming to justice and equity, sustainability also involve addressing inequalities in resource access and ecological impact. And sociologists again analyze how marginalized groups disproportionately bear the brunt of environmental degradation, from deforestation to climate-induced migration. So again, if you talk about environmental sociology and sustainable development, the key intersection, as discussed in the question, analyzing social practices, advocating policy reforms, reimagining the urban space, right, the spaces, and community engagement. All these you can mention. So practice like consumerism, urbanization, industrialization are scrutinized for their ecological impact. And studies show how transforming behaviors like adopting sustainable diets or reducing waste can significantly contribute to sustainability. Effective land use planning, right, building standards, and disaster management are very much essential for climate adaptation. And environmental sociology emphasizes the need for policies that balance ecological conservation with economic growth. Again, if you see reimagining the urban spaces, as I told you, urban environments, it must be redesigned to mitigate the climate risk while addressing social inequalities. For example, the participatory urban planning that can ensure inclusive development, that benefit both marginalized communities and the environment. Community engagement. The sociological perspectives, in fact, highlight the importance of involving communities in sustainability initiatives that will ensure their voices are heard in policy making. Now, what are the challenges? What are the way forward? Inequality, that's the biggest challenge. Misinformation, resistance to change. Like environmental degradation, disproportionately affect the marginalized communities. Public understanding of environmental issues is often skewed by misinformation, and economic and political interest, in fact, frequently obstruct the sustainability initiatives also. Now, what is the way forward? Policy integration, education and awareness, global and local collaboration. You can mention these. So align urban planning, agricultural practices, and disaster management with sustainability goals. Right? Again, promote environmental literacy to foster a culture of conservation. And then combine the international efforts like the Paris Agreement with grassroots movements for a meaningful change. Correct? So in conclusion, what I can tell is environmental sociology provide a unique framework to understand and address environmental challenges. So by integrating sociological insights with sustainable development goals, it offers solutions that are socially inclusive, economically viable, and ecologically sustainable. So as the world faces the unprecedented ecological crisis, environmental sociology becomes crucial in shaping policies, transforming behaviors, and fostering a sustainable future. And its emphasis on justice and equity ensure that the path to sustainability benefits all sections of society and leaving no one behind. So this is about this answer, and I hope you got this. I have explained slightly more here compared to the previous sessions. So in case if you like the video, share it with your friends. And in case if you're looking for a sociology mentorship or test series or the course, check out the details in the description, and see you in the next session. Thank you so much.